Hey, welcome to Keight Krafts. I'm Keight. Today I would like to share with you a platform pop-up Valentine's Day card. Let's get started. So to save some time, I've gone ahead and cut out everything that I'm going to need for today's card, as you can see here. And to kick things off, I'm going to do a little bit of Copic Coloring. Now, to choose all of these red colors was kind of a challenge because when I think of fox, I think of a red fox, but red foxes aren't really red. They're more of a brownish red, so this was kind of a challenge to pick out the proper shades of red that I thought would fit with this card. You'll see in a bit. It's a lot of red. It's a lot of red. And I actually, truth be told, already created this card once. And at the very, very end, I was at the finish line, and I kind of mucked things up. So I cleaned off my desk, took a bunch of pictures of the messy card, consulted a couple of crafty friends about it, got their opinion, and then said, you know what, let's go big, or let's go home. And I chose to go big and recreate the card. So, if you stay to the end, I might even show you the original card and why I screwed up on it. So I will show you one side of the platform pop-up on how to assemble it, and then I will move on to the next step because you don't need to see me do this twice. And there's a lot of other videos out there that explain this better than I do, so all I'm doing is reinforcing the folds that I have on all the score lines that the die cutout does for you. And then I'm taking one of the tees. I mean, you don't need all three of the tees for this platform pop-up, if you know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about and you've never assembled one of these cards, I recommend hanging out on Lawn Fawn's channel and learning about it there because we are going to do this quick. So all I'm doing here is I'm taking some score tape, which is some strong double-sided tape, and measuring everything out and putting them in the areas that need to have tape, because why not? I mean, I could have used liquid glue, I could have used like just a regular tape dispenser that I have, but I kind of like how strong this tape is, especially if it's going to be moved around quite a bit and popping in and out, and because, you know, once you've assembled a interactive card, you kind of gotta play with it. So all I've done here is tape down the little T and then folded everything over, and I've also stuck an 1/8 of an inch score tape on the top part of the T, so that way I could adhere my little hills. Now I've done 2 hills for each side, so that way whatever way you look at the platform pop-up, it looks pretty much the same. So once I've got that adhered to the one side of the T, I'm going to take some liquid glue, put some on the top, and then I'm going to stick the other one on top of that. Now the other side also has some score tape on it, and then that'll be nice and secure. And then I've got these Simply Celebrate hearts that I've cut out of this red foil paper cardstock. I think it's Recollections. I think I got it last Christmas or the Christmas before. I'm not sure. Anyway, and then I've got this, I think it's a gold shimmer paper cardstock from Recollections as well. They're both, I'm assuming, 65 pounds. So I've just kind of cut them out of different colors there and then figuring out what I'm going to do with the rest. Now, I'm going to do both of them at the same time and let them sit for a minute because I want to make sure that these are nice and stuck together for what I'm about to do. So once I've gone over all of this little bit with some glue, I will use my reverse tweezers and stick them on like I did the first one, trying to line everybody up so you don't see any of that red poking out. So I'll set that one off, and then I'll peel off the top one that I had sitting there. And I've taken the white cutout, because I didn't snip apart the dies that go to this, I just left them together kind of thing. And well, what I did actually was I cut them both out of white, and then I turned around and cut them both out of red because I figured eventually that I would use them. But I didn't cut the whole thing. Like, I cut what I needed, which I think was 6 hearts, And then I went back and moved it over to the side and then cut it again just so I get like I used the right size die kind of thing. So I did a little fan dangling, if you know what I mean. And if you don't, I'm sorry. I'm doing a really poor job at trying to explain this. So here I'm just making sure that everything's stuck down together. I did the same kind of idea that I did with the little hill with the hearts, and I wanted to make sure that the white would show on the back and you wouldn't see the brown of the red. And for the bottom of the platform, I'm just taking the same foiled red, sorry, cardstock, and I've used one of the Lacy Boarder dies, and then I just cut it down to size. And all I'm doing here is I'm sticking some 1/8 of an inch score tape along the bottom, and I decided not to go along the folded areas there. I kind of wanted to leave them open. I don't know why. Maybe I thought that this would give it a little bit of wiggle room when it's being opened and closed, or I wouldn't get an exact crease in it. I wasn't exactly sure what I was thinking. I mean, this was my second time doing this card, and although it didn't take me 3 hours like the first one did, because I think this one took me 1 hour and 45 minutes to get everything together with everything glued and stuff like that, it was getting kind of late. And I was frustrated with the first one, because you know when you put so much effort in and then you muck something up and it's kind of like it doesn't sit right with you and it bothers you, and you sit and think about it, and then you think about it some more, and you either throw in the towel and move on to a new project, or you do something silly like recreate it, not even moments after you've done it. So all I'm doing here is adding a little bit of the Tombow mono glue. That'll eventually dry, but the score tape will have everything stuck together for what I need. So now I'm taking these little hearts. Now these hearts, the bigger one is from the reverse stitch scallop window, circle window. And in the center of the circle window thing, they give you a little heart with a little cutout. And I thought that would be kind of cute, because when I talked to one of my crafty friends about the original card, she had made a comment that there wasn't enough white to balance out all of the red. And when I looked at it and thought about it, I thought, yeah, there wasn't enough white in the first one. So I thought maybe I could add a little bit of white to the front, I guess, with the white hearts. I mean, I don't know, do I really need the white hearts in the front? You'll be the judge of that at the end. You know, you can let me know in the comments what you think, and I will make sure to leave a comparison photo of both of them, and, you know, kind of explain to what I did wrong. So here I'm just adding a little bit of glue to the front of that and dropping it all over my project like a dunce. But I've got that stamping block there that's holding down the hearts just to keep my platform pop-up from popping up and giving me a little bit more of a sturdy ground, I guess. But then I bring in my T-square ruler trying to figure out where the center of this is, and I just kind of go with that one. So once I've got the red one heart down, I'll turn around and I'll end up gluing the other two as well. So that's what we're doing. I've got the stamping block holding it down, and then I'll remove it, add in the second heart, which I thought about putting them all along the straight line, but the hearts at the top are kind of at the straight line, and I thought, well, maybe it'd be a nice idea just to kind of put them fanning out like this. It'd be kind of cute. So that's what I did. And now I'm just gluing some glue on the inside of the hearts and putting the white bits. Again, this is the same colored paper that I used for the Simply Celebrate Hearts. The white gold shimmer by Recollections, and then the red foil paper from Recollections. Both 65 pounds. Yes, I think so. Maybe. I don't know. So that was the one side all done up. And then I'm going to take these little tiny hearts, which I can't recall what they were from. I'm drawing a blank on them, but I've got some white ones and some red ones, and I'm just going to pop those red ones on the, is it the hexagon? Is that hexagon that's got 6, or is that 8? I can't remember my shapes. Anyway, you'll see what I mean. So I need a sentiment for the heart, and I use the outside in stitched heart stackable, and I think it was the middle one that I used. I don't know, it fits perfectly on the laced stackable heart that I used, that I cut out in red. And all I'm doing here is using one of the little red hearts that I have from the circle window, and I use it as a spacer, so it'll say you make my, and then at the bottom say smile. So I'll be able to add in a heart to the heart on top of the heart. And this is just the extra that I had from the platform pop-up cutout, and I didn't want to waste it, and I kind of wanted to keep in tune with the same color scheme and the pattern and stuff. So all I'm doing here is creating like a little post, I guess. So I've taped and glued everything together, and now all I'm doing is trimming off the edges, so it's 1/4 of an inch, I want to say. And then I'll trim it down to 3.5, which I think I end up trimming down a little bit more, I can't remember. So here you have the lacy heart stackable and the outside in stitched stackable, and I'm going to stackable on the hearts. So I'll make sure that all the little bits are poked out of the lace, and throw a block on that, and then I'll glue this one down as well. Now, I was a little concerned because this paper isn't as thick as I would like to be, and I was worried about it warping. So once I've got everything stuck together and poked out, what I end up doing is just tucking them underneath my mat, and then that way they'll flatten out easily and they'll be out of the road. So here I'm taking both sides that I've now completed, and I'm just butting them up ever so gently to the edges, just so I could create that platform. And you can see I don't have that middle T in there, so we're going to do something a little bit different. I thought about using the T, but then I thought I needed a little bit more stability for the heart that I'm about to do. So here you see me pulling at the little hearts, and I'm going to get that little pillar piece that I made, and I'm going to add some tape to it. Now, I should have really thought about this. Like, I should have just put the tape on the platform where I needed it to be, but for some reason I just didn't think smartly about this. So what I think I would have done in hindsight was put the tape where I needed to be for the platform, and then have gone back with my heart to see how far down I need to take it to the platform, if that makes sense. So I'm going to tape this to the platform pop-up, but then I'm going to have to take those hearts and tape them to the little pillar that I made here, which I probably should have waited to add that extra glue, because I don't think that I needed it all the way down, and I was kind of worried that it would stick in some places, but I got lucky. I might not have gotten lucky had I not really kind of gave this any kind of consideration, which is why I cut the tape the way I did. But you can kind of see here, it just barely kisses that bottom. So, oh shoot, here comes one of my little sprinkles from another shaker mix. So once I've got that little piece out there, I'm going to add some of the Lawn Fawn glue around the heart here, and that way I've got some stickiness around the heart and stickiness on the little pillar that I made there. So once I've got everything, oh, yep, got a few more to poke out. Once I've got everything lined up here, I'll be able to stick everything down, and that will be nice and secure. So now I could add my little heart. But first, no, not my little heart just yet. I'm going to add in some more score tape, because I could have just used my little tape runner gun, or I could have used glue, but for some reason I was on a score tape kick. Score tape, score tape, score tape everywhere. So once I've got all that down, I will pull up the release tape on all 4 bits here, and then I'll be able to fold everything over. Now, I thought about folding everything over. Oh yeah, I can't forget the extra glue. And it kind of made me a little nervous that I wouldn't get everything lined up, so then I tried it this way, and it wasn't perfectly lined up like I'd hoped it would be, but you don't really notice it. So once I've got that all mashed together and I'm happy with how everything is, I'll be able to peel off that last little bit and join all the seams together. Now, I probably could have put something on the sides to kind of hide the seams, but I thought it was fine. So now we're going to bring in those foxes. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of glue to their head and hands. And you got to be careful with this bit. I fiddled with this first bit here, or this bit on the first card quite a bit, because when you close the card, you want to make sure that you have enough clearance for his little tail. Because you don't want his bum getting caught on the corner, because then it won't properly function. So that's what I'm going to also do here with this one as well. And once you get the two front ones lined up, you won't have to worry too much about the back ones. So that's why I'm using liquid glue and not an excess amount of score tape here, because I need a little bit of wiggle room. So once I've got all those mashed down and everybody's clear, I'll add in just a little bit of glue there to hold down that seam. And then I'll flip her over and then I'll add the other ones. So what I'll do is I'll add glue to all of the side here, or all the back side here, and then I'll line up, like how I did this was I lined up the tail and the foot. And I figure if I had the tail and the foot lined up, the rest would follow suit. So that's all I did there. And then I did the same with that one. I made sure that the foot and the tail were all lined up. And then that way it looks like, I don't know, like the fox is holding up the heart on either side. But when you look at the front, see, you can see the fox is holding up the back, but on the front they're going to be holding up the little tiny heart, which I thought was kind of cute. And I thought the red might have been too much, and I was trying to fiddle with these guys to see which one I wanted. And then I thought, well, I'll go with the big heart from the reverse circle window, and then I'll add this little bit of a heart here from whatever die that was. I lost track of that die. I'm sure it's in my notes somewhere. Yeah, I can't find it. It's the mystery heart die. Anyway, once that's all glued in together and I don't have any excess dripping out, I will add in a little bit more glue to the back side of that once I've cleaned it off a little bit with my finger. And my tweezers here. That's the thing about foil papers, is you get the slightest amount of anything on it and it's kind of like ruined, but not entirely ruined. At this point I was like, okay, I'm done. This is my finished card. I'm not adding any more to it. I thought about adding little sequins or something, but I figured the card was shiny enough, so that is my finished card. This is kind of hard to take a picture of, but you get the idea. And as promised, here is the comparison. You can see I didn't add as much to the back of the first one, and then the second one, you can't really tell on this photo, but I kind of messed up and ended up adding way too much black around the heart, and I just wasn't happy with it, which is why I ended up making it over. And here's a photo of my finished second card. These cards are always hard for me to properly take photos of because I don't have one of those little pedestals that swivel around to take different angles of it, but I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, thanks for hanging out with me today. Take care.